I'm trying to think of values that I've gained through this trip. And it's still early on, but I can think of a few just off the top of my head. First of all, we're out here in the sequoia forest, surrounded by these massive trees. I think it's fitting that the first value is to do big things. Because when you do something big, you're going to find out something about yourself. You're going to find out about the world around you. It's going to help you be contemplative and refresh your mind. So that's value number one. Do big things. Number two, look at the size of this tree. Gee. Number two, I'd say don't be afraid. Kind of follows from number one, but when I started on this trip, the first couple of days, it was terrifying. I got a junky old $1,000 car. For a little background, I'm on an 8,000-mile road trip. I'm going to at least a dozen national parks, over 20 states. I haven't slept in a bed in 15 days. I'm just on the go. And about 2 or 3 days into the trip, I wanted to go home. As stupid as it sounds to say it, I'm like, this is scary. I'm afraid. I don't want to do this. So I hightailed out to a national forest, spent a couple nights out there just to get my feet wet. Look at this tree. And, when you push past the fear, you'll start to gain momentum, which is the third value, is that you should seek momentum in your life, because from a static state, it's hard to propel yourself to new phases in life. It's hard to push onwards. So build momentum, and when you have momentum, seize every little bit of it, because we need it to do the big things that if you didn't do them, you would regret it. And fourth, I'd say find the most uncomfortable, the biggest challenge, the thing you're most afraid of, and seek that fear, because we can all do the things that we're good at. Like, I'm good, for example, at just making a decision and rolling with it. I decided, you know what, now's the time. I'm going to go see the country. That's easy for me. Something that's hard for me, not too closely correlated, but I'm afraid of heights, and so I'm taking every chance I can to go to the highest, scariest places, and it fries your nerves. It's terrifying for me. Climbing Angel's Landing, I was shitting my pants, more or less, figuratively speaking. But I'm glad I did it, despite taxing my nerves. So, seek the things you're most afraid of. That's the fourth value. The fifth value is self-reliance. Traveling with people is great. I love to travel with people, but there's so much compromise involved. It's a little depersonalizing almost, I'd say, to travel with somebody and make decisions as a team. I'm not saying that's not a valuable experience, but you also need to be able to rely only on yourself, no external input, because that's when you find out what you really want. And I found out the longer I've been on this trip, the more I understand why I love it so much. So that's the fifth value. The sixth value is, if you're in a rut, recognize it and start moving right away. This fits in with, I think it was the third value about momentum. I probably should have had this. This is part 3. This is value 3, part 2. Is that don't let yourself get stuck. You spend 2 days I spent 2 days in Vegas, 3 days in San Diego, and as you get, hey, look, it's an ant carrying away a big ant. What are you doing, bud? Oh yeah, and check out this beautiful sap. Gorgeous. I should stick an ant in there and make some amber maybe. But yeah, you don't become static. Keep moving. You have to, because that's where the momentum comes from, is from pushing onwards, even when you might not necessarily want to. So I don't know. This is all off the top of my head, so maybe it's a rough draft. Maybe this is something that I'm willing to share. We'll find out. But let's see what else. Another value is that you should enjoy yourself. This fits in with self-reliance, but be your own friend. Find the things that make you feel good for yourself and stick with them. So that's part C. Part B, we're getting mixed up here. I'll be back with more values maybe. Let's see, other little ones. Do it while you can, because we're all going to get old. We're all going to have obligations, families, jobs, whatever. If you don't have that, if you get fired, if you're depressed and spending time in your basement drinking or whatever it is, those are times in your life. Get away from me, B. Those are times in your life you're never going to get back. So no excuses to be depressed, to be a bum, whatever. Like, it's understandable, and that's human nature, to get in ruts or to have depressing situations, but don't let yourself be a victim to your surroundings or your emotional state. Find a way to push through it. Let's see. Make sure to take time to enjoy clear skies and open places, amazing smells, good food. Do what you can with what you have. If you have a car and you don't have money for a hotel, then sleep in your car. If you can't go to nice cities and eat at the restaurants you want to, then buy your own food and throw it in a cooler, eat at McDonald's or whatever. Don't assume that there's a way that you have to do these things, because a lot of people might judge you if they found out that I'm doing this trip drinking Red Bull and going to McDonald's and Chipotle. But the fact of the matter is that that's what I'm able to do, and if that allows me to keep going, then I'm happy with it. Another thing, find places to walk. Find big distances to walk that scare you. These are all my values that are starting to overlap, which isn't really a problem. I'll parse them out as I think more about it. But do big walks in the sun, uphill. Do crazy elevation, climb a mountain. Don't get lost. I got lost in a mountain one time, so I have a tracker now. But, those extreme levels of exertion where you're pushing your body beyond what your body expects or asks for, those are things that I already, thinking back, retrospective on my 15 days of travel, those are the moments that I'm gonna be proud of, and I'm gonna tell people, hey, I climbed Mount Whitney, or I did a 15-mile hike in the Grand Canyon the day after I climbed Angel's Landing, or I did a 600-mile road trip the day after I climbed Angel's Landing when I did a 15-mile hike that day. Push your fucking limits, because that's what we do. We men, we women, we gotta push ourselves, because nobody likes a bum, nobody likes a lazy man. Take pictures. If you're in beautiful places, I know people like to mock those who are holding their camera all the time and the selfie stick and everything, but I already know I'm gonna want to look back at these things and be like, yeah, I did that. That's right. Let's see, maybe this is like value 8 or 13.7 or wherever we're at. But good value to keep in mind is that you get your education in strange ways. If you're used to studying, if you're used to books, if you're used to a certain mode of learning, you can take that pretty far and you can become very specialized. But there's different types of education. Life education involves taking your opportunities. And before I started this trip, I kind of had an overarching principle, and I think I was spot on. It kind of came to me. I was trying to sound cool, but seek the adventurous life. We need adventure. Oh my goodness. I thought it's a deer. I thought it was the biggest fucking rat I've ever seen. I'll try and get a video of it for you. What the fuck is that thing? Oh yeah, it's a buck. It's at such a great distance that I can't really. It's a teeny little baby, but alright, back to the point. Adventure is life. Don't be afraid. The world is in a constant state of flux. You can go from the desert to a snow-capped peak in a matter of an hour. You can change biomes so quickly. The world all around us, it exists in these little bubbles where things seem like they're so static. But if you live a dynamic life, then you'll see that things are, as you move forward, things constantly change. There is no such thing as a really static place. It might seem like that. Look at the size of this tree. It might seem like things are static, but that's because your life is static. The world around us is not static. It's incredibly dynamic, and it has so much to offer. I don't know, maybe that's it for now. I'll come back to this later, but yeah, I hope I kind of got the pen on the paper, so to speak. And these are ideas that I'll be able to look back on one day and think, yeah, I remember that feeling. I remember thinking that, the way it felt, the way I felt, how I felt so good about myself. Yeah. And I can say for sure that travel like this isn't the magic medicine. It won't give you serenity on every aspect of your life, but there is a lot of value to find in it, and hence why I'm trying to stop and capture these values in the moment, is because you can miss these moments. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Signing out. Nomad. Pete the Nomad. Moving onward.